Thank you so much for being here today. I'm Mike Womack, Director of Marketing and Communications here at NJMEP. And today, actually, I have the pleasure of introducing one of our partners, Priority Software, who will be discussing one of those talked about topics that anywhere right now, manufacturing aside, AI, but with a little
That's
twist.
it.
We're going to go really kind of start hearing firsthand from leaders in the ERP space and hands-on with the AI technology to help cut through some of the buzz and dive into some of the real-world applications they're seeing and the value that they're seeing for their customers. If any of you have any questions throughout the presentation, please just post them in the chat. We're going to hold them, make sure that Priority and our partners get back to you and really kind of hammer out those questions for you. We'll make those connections. But before I pass it over to Barry, I just want to thank Priority Software, the entire team, for helping put this together. And without wasting any more time, I just want to welcome Barry Spielman, Director of Product Marketing for Priority Software, to introduce today's panel. And then I'll back out and let them take it away. So, Barry, please.
Okay. So, Michael, first of all, thank you very much. Thank you for hosting today's webinar and for the partnership of New Jersey Manufacturing Extension Program together with us to do this endeavor. My name is Barry Spielman. I'm Director of Product Marketing for ERP at Priority Software. And I'll be moderating the webinar today. And we'll be discussing, like Michael said, it's not just a subject that relates to ERP, and it's almost every second sentence that everyone's making on AI, but how AI is changing the ERP landscape. That's what we're going to be focusing on. And we know that things are moving fast, real fast, okay? And a lot of it's hype, but a lot of it's not. And together with experts that I'll be introducing in 1 second, we're going to try to make some sense of this whole thing, explore some trends, see where everything's going, and see how companies are organizing themselves to meet both expectations from the field, but also what's realistic inside their own companies and their own business requirements. So to do this, it's my pleasure to introduce our guests we'll have joining me today in this webinar. First of all, two gentlemen from Panorama Consulting Group, Alan Salton, who is the managing partner at Panorama, and Chris DeVault, the Senior Manager of Client Services. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today on this webinar.
Thank you.
Great. And now also the folks from Priority Software, along with me, we have Eyal Katz, who is our Chief Innovation Officer, and Todd McElroy, who heads North American Sales for Priority. Guys, appreciate you joining me too.
Thank you, Barry. There's no place we'd rather be.
I love it. Okay.
Maybe
Great.
home.
Okay. All right. So we have a very interesting conversation ahead of us, and I'm very much looking forward to it. But before we get started, I also have a couple of very quick housekeeping items. We'll jump right into. We don't want to take any more time away. So first of all, be aware that this webinar is being recorded, and it will be available on demand on both the Priority Software and the Panorama websites. Okay, so you'll have the availability to see it afterwards, and for those who are missing it, they'll be able to see it too. We also have a lot of material that we plan on showing you and discussing. So we don't envision a live Q&A. However, we do encourage everyone on this call to ask questions, okay? And put them in the chat, and we commit to getting back to each and every one of you after the webinar with the questions you have. So we won't have a live Q&A, but we will get back to you and answer every question that you ask us. So please take advantage of that. And with that, I think we're ready to go. And so to kick us off, I want to hand it over to both Chris and Alan from Panorama. So Chris, I'm going to hand it over to you and take it from here.
Excellent. Thank you, Barry. And just getting my screen set up here. And should be recording here.
We're going to find the mute button.
Everybody can see that now.
Now we see you, Chris.
Yeah, not yet, Chris. We're not seeing it.
Again here.
Okay, it's coming up. There you go. 1 sec. All right, we're there.
All right, excellent. Thank you. Yeah, so who is Panorama? Panorama, we're an independent, agnostic enterprise transformation consulting firm. Independent and agnostic being very important to us. You can see the industries below that we specialize in. Across many different industries, the bread and butter has always been discrete manufacturing. And you can see different industries within that. We also do a lot of government, private sector, education, and also niches within those manufacturing realms there. At Panorama, everybody's 20 plus year experience. So we have Six Sigma MBAs. We've got Apex certifications. I myself is a Apex certified supply chain analyst. So those are the types of resources that we're looking at with good experience from industry at Panorama Consulting. We were founded in 2005. We've done over 1,000 projects, over 1,000 clients. These are projects in software selection, optimization, business process improvement. You can see the right-hand side here is our complete service lines. Got implementation, ERP negotiation along with our selection. And then most recently, we've introduced our AI readiness assessment and enablement. Alan's going to be talking about that a lot today. Again, who we are. So we provide strategic guidance on information strategies for our clients. We really align the organization to make a decision and successfully implement technology. And then we maintain, a core focus moving forward after groups go live on how to maintain that system. We do not sell any software. There's no ties or financial initiatives with any of the groups we work with, and we don't have anybody technically on staff for technical resources. We have groups that are people that are experienced with different ERPs, but we are not looking for any sort of technical implementation. Now, the importance of AI readiness and why we're here today, looking at, organizations are adopting different rates of AI. They're adopting at different rates, starting to become a differentiator for many companies. So a structured approach that needs to align with the business goals and help adoption is really critical. Readiness allows users to understand the initiative, and it enables them to take advantage of the technology. So for benefits here, many organizations are seeing AI help accelerate product innovation, product development, product launch, improve customer experience, outreach to their customers. And of course, AI also comes with some risks as well. So without being ready or the proper staffing to implement these technologies, you may fail, and we want to make sure that everybody has a successful project here. So what is some of the readiness here? We're going to do a deep dive into this readiness here, the framework for the readiness and enablement, but it starts with discovery and strategy. We're identifying potential use cases, trying to create a realistic plan, many things that parallel all technology initiatives here. From an AI an assessment and readiness, we need to start to ramp up the resources. We need to start to understand what the scope is of the initiative, right? Small initiatives to start. We're not trying to bite off more we can chew. And we make sure we can also manage the project. So not only staffing up the project, proper resources, building up the team, but ensuring continuous improvement with the project oversight and project management. This is a quick snapshot of Panorama's clients, just a handful of manufacturers that we worked with, small, large, startup groups, and up to $40 billion groups. Now I'm going to end it here and pass it over quickly to Alan. And Alan's going to take us through the rest of the AI readiness and enablement.
All right, great. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. Let me know when you see my screen.
Yep, we're set.
All right. So let's just talk a little bit about how we got to this discussion of AI. I've been around in this ERP business for about 35, 36 years. And, initially ERP was a transactional system. It was really about, converting quotes to orders to run planning and generate all the transactions around procurement and manufacturing. But the biggest shift over the last, especially 10 years, is this movement from ERP and enterprise software being a transactional system to more an informational system. And that's really what we've seen, that, from better enterprise reporting to BI and now to AI. So this is kind of the legacy. Where does that take us? Well, this is kind of an explanation of what that journey has looked like. So going back, most reporting in ERP and most reporting in systems was descriptive. It talked about, what happened in the past. So as an example, if you wanted to talk about inventory, you would have an inventory report. It would show you over the last 12 months or whatever period you've set, what is excess stock? Where do we have unsold units? When did we have stock outs? At what location? At what time? So it was really about understanding the past inventory levels and trends, but it was definitely retrospective. The move over the last few years have been more towards first predictive analytics. So predictive analytics is saying, based on, for instance, orders, based on forecasts, based on procurements, based on historical data, what is likely to happen? So that's when you can forecast surplus units of this item. You can look at risk of stockouts of certain items in certain locations. It's going to anticipate shortages and demand patterns and kind of show you, based on the data you have, which is, of course, the most critical piece, what's going to happen in the future. And the next part of that evolution is through this idea of prescriptive analytics. In other words, what can we do to, in this case, influence inventory levels? So it'll recommend that you reduce production on a certain product. You will recommend that you increase another product. It will recommend that you reallocate inventory. So what it will do is start making suggestions, recommendations about how you can change your operations and your enterprise to get to the goals and objectives that you want to get to. And the next step in what's really doing this is moving from reporting to AI, which is using really statistical models to generate these recommendations. So whether it's cash or inventory or sales, it'll help you make the decisions, because at the end of the day, AI is a decision support mechanism to help you to reach the goals and objectives you set as an organization. So when you look at AI and you talk about where does it fit in, of course, advanced analytics is one of it. Recommendations around automated efficiency. And we'll talk a little bit about each of these things going forward. AI to enhance customer experience. Of course, Amazon has been the one kind of set the bar for what it's like to do business with people, where everything is anticipated, everything is automated. It's way easier to spend money than it ever was, which unfortunately means that our wives or spouses or whatever are spending more money than we anticipate. Getting to better problem resolution, adaptability, scalability, cost optimization. So when we talk about AI, part of what we have to understand is really what is it that we're talking about. So artificial intelligence on a broad scale is just a system that kind of replicates human thinking. That's the concept. So it makes predictions, it makes decisions, it makes recommendations. It's simulating how we understand the world, how we understand the business, and it's using data and algorithm models really to enhance our businesses to really optimize performance. In that kind of big bubble that we call AI, there's certain things that sit underneath. One is machine learning. So machine learning is really where you can set some data, provide a model, and the system will learn. The AI model will learn to recognize patterns, train itself to perform tasks and make decisions, and improve processes. And there's different kinds of machine learning. There's, for instance, supervised learning. A quick example is there's a company that a bunch of kids came together and they developed an AI model that would recognize the difference in a farm between a weed and a vegetable. And it would take these pictures. This is a weed, this is a vegetable. And it would tell the AI system weed, vegetable. And eventually it learned which was which without anybody supervising. So it moved from supervised learning to unsupervised learning. So it learned itself. Deep learning and generative AI now is really where you start taking these models and almost placing one on top of another. So it becomes an iterative model. So you have a model that's making recommendations or decisions. It puts it on another layer. It looks at it. It sends it back. And it without getting too technical, you start getting into this idea of a kind of a neuron model. So it's doing model building and optimization on its own. And this is great, especially when you start looking at tons and tons of data where you can actually start doing stuff. From that, we've developed generative AI. So generative AI is really, again, a very complicated predictive system that says, based on the data I have and based on real-time data, I'm going to make a prediction about what's going to happen and answer the question. So when you ask ChatGPT or Copilot, a question, it's looking at everything, then it's looking at the possible responses and building the model and the model on the model on top. What's the next probable answer, the next probable word, the next probable outcome, and based on all that, it's actually generating for you an AI. I'm sorry, an answer. And then, of course, we have machine vision. This has become, when we talk about robotics, when we talk about drones and automatic drones, this is kind of the next step where it's taking that data through sensors, which become much more accessible and actually affordable. It's taking that data, it's analyzing it, and then using a AI decision model is telling the drone or the robot or the machine what happens next. This becomes extremely important when we talk about quality management and predictive maintenance, where it can look at an item coming through a machine and to tell, is there a defect? Or what is the probability of a defect? So how's AI being deployed currently? So as you go through, and as we have gone through and said, okay, let's look at our particular environment. What does that look like? Oh, I've got some crazy stuff on my screen. Obviously, Amazon has taken that customer experience thing and taken it to another level where it knows what you're interested in doing. It's going to provide automation. It's going to know what you looked at last time. It's going to provide you with updates automatically, the whole customer experience. In finance, there's tons of models and agents, which we'll talk about later, that help you automate the processes, especially repetitive, rules-based processes through security and compliance, supply chain optimization. So, and a lot of this has to do with production planning and optimization, supply chain scenarios, risk mitigation, and eventually to supplier relations. Who's the best vendor for this product at this time? What's the best actions? How do I actually improve that relationship so to know which early payment discounts to take? How do I then distribute to manage, for instance, inbound inventory to flow my inventory flow? I don't know what this is.
Interesting. Writing
Somebody's drawing on your screen.
Someone's drawing on your screen.
Yeah, but I didn't see that before. Anyway, let's talk about one of the most important parts of this right now is this idea of AI assistants and AI agents. So everybody's talked about agentic AI. So what exactly does that mean? Well, this evolution in AI started with just AI assistants, which were just chatbots. The AI systems that will allow you to interact using large language models. And there's tons and tons of large language models available from different companies. This AI system, this large language model, is a component of almost all ERP systems now, where you have a query box where you can go in and ask a question, and that interface between natural language and what's going on in the back end becomes that assistant. It allows the system, the ERP system and the AI to start providing data and intelligence to you. The next part of it is really what we talk about is an AI workflow. And an AI workflow is actually where what you've done is you've structured process and told AI, this is what we want to have done, and then let it take over the interaction that happens. So if we talk about how a customer does a return, you develop an AI workflow. It's a structured rule-based sequence. It will validate the invoices. It'll look at, because you will tell it, validate the invoices, make sure the payments, make sure the policies and processes have been made. It only handles situations that have been defined in advance. And frankly, the interaction is very minimal and very structured. When you talk about an AI agent, it's different. You just say, you give it a goal. An AI agent says, hey, I need you to handle our returns process. And then it kind of figures it out on its own. It's autonomous, it's goal-driven. It's actually, since it's a deep learning model agent, then it's capable of reasoning to interact with, for instance, a customer, to ask questions. It's very flexible, and it can evaluate the data to make decisions or recommendations. So it's not that here's our process for returning stuff. You just set it a goal and it takes it from there. And part of this is this idea of how do I have my information, my data, what resides in my ERP system, available to an AI model. There's always concern about it. Am I exposing our data, our customer data, our sales data to the web? And this idea of agentic RAG, retrieval augmentation, is where you take your enterprise-specific information through a gateway, through an orchestrator, to make it available to an AI model. So you go in, and I think Ayala is going to talk more about this later. But the idea is you can generate a query. It goes through your large language model, your chat box. It will go then take that and translate it into something that the system will understand, and then it'll look at, hey, on the web, is there available answers? Can I answer this question? This is like, hey, I've got a prospect. Tell me about this prospect. If that's not enough to answer your question, then it goes through a separate process, which goes through a vector database, your internal data, to start saying, hey, let me look through our internal sales records. Have we done business before with this client? What was the information it could provide? Who did we talk to? What did they buy? That kind of stuff. And then this augmentation of what's out there using your own internal data comes back and prompts and provides you a final response. So this is the idea of taking a large language model that's out there and augmenting it with enterprise-specific information to generate an answer that will actually provide more value to you. So another example, if you're doing an RFP response, you can ask it, hey, generate an RFP for this client. It'll look at your past RFP responses and add and enhance it based on what you've told them before. Almost done here, because I know we're kind of running out of time. What we've seen is that core applications of AI, manufacturing, production, from optimizing scheduling and shop floor, inventory management we talked about before. So what we've seen is people who have adopted, manufacturers who have adopted AI, 40% of them or 39% of them have used it for process optimization and shop floor optimization. A third of them are now using it for inventory management, quality operations, especially with machine vision, equipment maintenance. So when we talked about predictive maintenance and then prescriptive maintenance, this idea of equipment maintenance, predictive and prescriptive analytics. Equipment maintenance is a huge area which has showed huge returns. So supply chain management, product design, logistics operations, and the whole idea that what we're doing here is really supporting decision making. So that's all I have. I'm going to turn it over to Barry again.
Alan, thank you. Thank you very much. Before I hand it over to Al, I just want to take the opportunity, because it was asked in the chat. Yes, we will be sharing the slides with the participants. And so after, I guess Michael knows how that would work, but we will be sharing the slides with everyone who's participating in this call. And now to transition, I mean, that was really good stuff, Alan, Chris, thank you very much. And I know that Eyal, Chief Innovation Officer at Priorities, is ready to jump in there, because a lot of what you're going to say is going to tie into that. So I won't hold you back. Eyal.
Thank you very much, Barry. Now, let's see the first challenge, if we can share.
Well, they made it through. They got through. They did it.
All right.
There
we go.
You're in. There you go.
Okay, so let's see.
Good stuff, Eyal.
Yeah, so it's on the first slide. So, okay, so AI, as we know, is something that is affecting all of us everywhere, anywhere. And as we can see, it's like changing the pace is so fast. I mean, just yesterday, another game changer just came out. Google released Gemini 3, and they released this new programming agents and stuff that, each time they release something new, it kind of kills the other guys. And the thing is, they're always running after the tail, trying to keep up with the change. And it's a challenge, you have to be all the time with the cutting edge. And if you're doing the cutting edge, you can bring value to your customers and internally, of course, too. So basically, I'll try to, talk about these three pillars of AI that we have in priority. So the first one is AI for the product. This is what we're doing, like referring back to what Alan said, and you can see the evolution of, starting from this assistant stage, going to more to this kind of workflow stage, and now going to this agentic stage. AI for the company, like we'll call AI for the, I don't know, it's for the enterprise, for the corporate. It means that at the end of the day, we're a company, or financial company that has departments, like service, service is it's a very tense job over there, and finance and marketing. So how do we make our company more efficient? So we're not just doing AI for the product, we're doing AI internally, so we can actually feel the experience of the transition. I know that just read a paper that, if you're trying to do AI transformation, it usually fails. But if you do try to augment it with with people, the AI is coming to be like something that is something to use in your work, like your co-pilot, then it's I don't know, like 76% of success compared to do it full transformation that has failure. And the third one, the third pillar is the ISV program that sometimes, we don't know everything and we're doing everything, there's like sometimes some niches that, we have companies that could do it better. So this is where we can find companies that have this, I don't know, something cool with AI, and we did it with some professor from the academy that can give us value to our customers. So we have this independent software vendor program that makes, to find partners that can bring value to our customers. So jumping in, as I said, as you can see, this is like the evolution of AI, at least in priority that we did. So the first part was the assistance part. So it was basically giving you the ability, just doing in natural language, things that you had to use, user interface and be an expert in the system. And now we can just do it, by conversational. So the first stage was the assistance. So we gave you the ability to, help you do searches, in natural languages, to write emails better, create a business rule, like saying, for example, I don't know, if I have a supplier that, I don't know, is missed his due date, then send him an email, and this will convert it to this AI-based, let's say, rule. And at the end of the day, because AI still, it has to be trustworthy. So we'll give you like, this is what you asked for. You need to accept it before, we're sending it on behalf of you and say, oh, this AI doesn't work well. So it's always, and this is the part we're building trusts. The next stage we leveled up was the AI advisor. The AI ERP advisor was giving us the ability now to do forecasting prediction. This actually gives you the ability to analyze the data and give you recommendations of things that that's, let's say, AI semi-agent can do for you. And over here, again, this is another step forward with AI. The third step is what we call the agentic AI ERP. So this is kind of just like, what is an agent? Okay, at least from my point of view, agent has four parts. It has the large language model behind it, like ChatGPT or Claude or whatever. It has the agent instructions. This is your goal, and this is what you need to do. It has a memory. So because it could be a short-term memory of the conversation, and it has a long-term memory of things that it needs to remember when how to deal with things that haven't worked well in the past. And the most important, has tools. So these tools, you have a tool to connect it to, I don't know, to the internet, to connect it to your data, to connect it to your documents. And wrapping this all together, this gives you the ability now to build something that I'm giving you instructions, and you will just, take the instructions and try to make it work. If it doesn't, you'll try to understand what went wrong. You'll try to redo it. And if it doesn't, there's something called human in the loop. It will add someone and tell you, okay, I'm stuck. What do I need to do? And I can, the human can help it, and then it can continue working. And so it keeps on learning and evolving. So this is the concept of the agentic. So does this make sense, guys?
It makes it. Go ahead, Barry.
No. You guys, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that in the past 12 months, there's been quite an evolution in our customer base and in our prospect base, and even when we attend industry events, the topic of AI isn't a topic; it is the topic. And our clients have really asked us to be much more inclusive. They're coming to us without us having to go to them to have the conversation about our roadmap, because they're planning for their organization. They want to know where we're going. And to Eyal's point, And Alan's point earlier, they want to have input on that because that's going to help to drive their business. It's an education curve for both sides of the equation. But I think one of the areas that was not predicted a year ago was that it was going to be so inclusive and that business owners and C-level executives were going to be driving future decisions in collaboration with their technology providers. ERP is important in the AI conversation. It's not the only aspect by any means, and it's all of the technology and all of the data sets and marrying all of that in your organization. So I just wanted to reiterate what the client base is telling us out in the field.
And that's
And
critical.
just
That's important. Yeah.
yeah, and just to put some sugar topping around it, so what we're doing, we built this what we call the. I'm trying not to do name dropping in buzzwords because I guess not all of us are technical. So we had this concept called MCP. This is kind of a wrapper that is built behind the agent that gives other programs or other agents or even ChatGPT or Cloud, whatever, to talk with your agents. So this gives the ability tomorrow, one of our resellers wants to build his own user interface of an agent. He can actually consume this, let's say, all these agents behind the Priority ERP with this MCP that makes it work in kind of a natural language manner. So again, I'm not going to go into deep, but it leverages your AI to the outside world in a natural language way of talking. Okay,
So I
so
just hold on, Al. Just one thing. You don't want to do names dropping, but we do. I'm sure people are asking on in the call, what's this AI-ERP thing? So I think it's worth two sentences of saying. I mean, I could do it. That we this is a trademarked name for Priority, the AI that we have embedded throughout our system, which is described the way Al is showing it here on the slides. But that is, if anyone's asking what aiERP is, it was launched back in June of this year, and that is our trademarked AI
yeah,
functionality. You want to add to that?
yeah, just to summarize it, before, we believe like in the composable ERP, so we're giving you the option to talk to our ERP. We had all kind of layers, like you had this API layer and this Web SDK layer and the ODBC layer, whatever, that gives you like all kind of ways for external applications to talk to the ERP. So now this MCP layer, think about it, you don't need to know, you don't need the heavy lifting. You don't need to learn how to talk to the API. You just talk to the MCP natural language, and this will perform like things like open a document, retrieve data from the system, maybe even later, I don't know, generate another instance for a customer for a testing environment. So it can work through multiple requests and understand this is I need to do something on the cloud, this is I need to go to the ERP, or this goes to the knowledge base. So again, we're trying to simplify it, and there's some new stuff coming out like cloud skills. That's something that's very new and probably going to take the market in the next few weeks. And again, I'm not going to go into too deep because it's you're going to have to stop me. So I'm going to go to the next slide. Okay, so how come I'm not seeing this? Okay. So let's talk about a bit what we're doing for the company. And Alan talked about this RAG system, this concept of how you build this AI brains behind your knowledge, your unstructured knowledge mostly. So this is a way of taking all your unstructured data, all your SOPs, FAQs, Q&As, whatever, and throwing into this like huge AI database that the moment you throw it, it gives you the ability to create conversational questions like chatbots, or we use it a lot for example, in our service department. So think about it. Today, if a customer wants to open a service ticket, we know that, first, maybe we can answer it through AI. So this is kind of a deflection system. Instead of, putting more and more tickets in, if we can already pre-answer it, then go ahead, let's do it. And again, this AI knowledge base, think about it as an octopus that has tentacles, has a lot of applications. Like we can see, we have like a WhatsApp bot, we have a smart document search. Even if we have like pre-answer, if we had like a service ticket and we can pre-answer it, we already sent the answer to it. And again, it keeps up and evolving to all for a line of businesses. Already have multiple like hospitality and retail. So it keeps evolving, and we build like the self-service behind it, so you can just upload your documents and ask any question you want, and it'll give you a precise, accurate answer. And make it imprecise. This is the biggest challenge I think today in companies. And I have a slide about what's moving from POC to production, how hard it is. The next thing is what we call the knowledge graph. And this is another game changer in this industry. Think about the biggest problem today is that you have in an ERP system hundreds of thousands of entities. And when you ask a question, this large language model needs to figure out which entities you're talking about. And the more entities you have, it's becoming more complicated. So we figured out this way of working with large language model is not enough. We have to make something that is what we call more context-based, that understands your business. So we took the ERP schema and we loaded to this knowledge graph to build precise answers. So we're not relying on statistics, we're relying more on, let's say, on more deterministic flows and way of figuring out what you meant. And again, this will give you today to minimize the amount of the tolerance of the answer, making it correct. We're limited to to specific screens or let's say or topics. Now with this knowledge graph, we can ask a question all around. I don't know, give me all the customers that are late in manufacturing, work orders, whatever, and you'll know how to convert it to this relevant question. And from this, you can build analytics. It's the basic for everything you want to do with large modules like an ERP system. And again, behind the scene, at the end of the day, you're going to ask a question, you're going to get an answer, a precise answer. And this is one of the hard things to do. And again, we have a lot of AI initiatives, so I'm not going to go over them, but I'll give you just another example what AI can do. We had this for the delivery team. We had this company that built this robotic warehouse. Actually, they ordered this robotic warehouse and they wanted to integrate it to Priority. And at the end of the day, it was very complicated. Privileges gateway. So we had a lot of meetings. At the end of the day, it took an hour to the system to generate the code and generate the specs, and that's it. It's running in production and it's working. I think before we had to have a team of people, of programmers, front end, back end, I don't know, product, whatever, and now you can do things that fast. So this is some of the amazing stuff, especially in software, how fast you can, time to market. Okay, I'm probably short in time, so let's continue. Some of the lessons learned, because again, it's not an easy road. It's to get something working, it's really fast, and say, oh, I got it working. But to make something work in production, it's way more complicated, and we can see, something that I experienced by myself. So we started with this AI knowledge base, and okay, I took 100 documents. And I gave 10 people in, the service department to, try the system and said that this is awesome. And the guy from, the service manager told, okay, let's talk to the CEO. I guess we can, 50% of the people we can shift somewhere else because now I have this AI knowledge base gives me great results. But then the hard truth comes and hits you. Instead of 100 documents, they have 10,000 documents and 1,000 users and multiple use cases, and this is becoming much more complicated. And to solve that, you suddenly find yourself going back to research and using multiple agentic flows and internal loops to figure out if the answers are correct. At the end of the day, it's much more complicated in AI, at least moving from this pilot phase to production phase. Okay, and what are the top 5 challenges? Going back to what we talked about, comparing 100 documents in the system to 10,000 documents to the system. As you see, the higher the business value you want from AI, the more sophisticated. You need to put more tools. You need more, let's say, learning curve for the modules in the AI. By the way, we're trying to be AI agnostic. So we're working with multiple modules, trying to bring the best of multiple words, and as you see, every day something changed. Just yesterday, Gemini 3 came out of Google, and now it's beating everybody on the top charts. It's like the best model ever. So you need to have this flexibility to switch between models on the fly. And again, there's a lot of things we're doing behind the scenes to keep it working. Specialize is your competitive edge. Don't build something that is like general. Don't be like ChatGPT that will give you the ability to chat about everything, because it's not going to work well. At least when you're doing something for enterprise, you should have specialized, let's say, agents for finance, for service. If you're trying to capture everything, it won't work. Going specialized, this is going to be your advantage. And think about it. People change. Uh, people get sick, whatever. You're taking your knowledge and you're putting it in AI. This is your competitive edge, because this is going to give you stability in your organization. Another thing, think system, not module. Everybody's talking, I can have ChatGPT, I'll just throw in some, I don't know, documents and it'll give you answers. No, the module is maybe 20% of this workflow. This workflow is something that needs to be, let's say, handled from the beginning. Think about it. When you ask a question, you need to figure out, is this question for the knowledge base? Is this just an hello question? Is this a continuation of a previous question? So there's a lot of things you need to deal in the middle to make it actually work. So at the end of the day, it's not just using this model and you get an answer. You have to have, it's a lot of moving parts. And speed beats perfection. Of course, because AI is not deterministic, you have to find out as fast as possible, does it make sense? Does it work? Does it bring value? So even when you're starting working, as soon as possible, start getting feedback from people that are actually using the system, because it's always being the best. You're going to miss it. And, the pace of AI is changing so fast. So again, if you're going to wait, you're going to be obsolete. And last and not least, be ambitious, aim for the sky. What I'm trying to say here is like, don't try to solve what everybody solved, because again, it's not going to give you a competitive edge. What we're trying to solve is things like this knowledge graph that is very complicated, and as far as I know, nobody's solved this. Dealing with hundreds of thousands of entities of those ERP systems. That again, there are all kind of ways to work around it. You're guiding the user. Oh, did you ask about this subject? Did you mean this? Did you mean that? Like going a lot of backwards and forwards. This is just one example of trying to bring our customers value, and the only way to bring value is by innovation, being with the cutting edge and using the best of all worlds to bring value. And I guess this is a wrap.
That's a wrap. Okay. Well, Eyal, thank you very much for that. And thank you, all of you guys. It's really, really fascinating stuff. So now I want to take the time that we've got left and sort of have a more of an informal but a discussion between all of you guys, and several questions that I want to ask you guys, sort of as a panel of experts. So I'm inviting everyone to jump in and chime in on your point of view. We've been talking about sort of a journey to get to do AI, to incorporate it in the company. So there are all these companies out there on the call, people on the call. What do they need to get ready for that AI, for their AI journey? Where do they even start? I mean, how do you put this into that kind of focus? Who wants to start with that? Don't
Yes.
all speak at once.
Real quick here,
Yeah.
from a discovery and a readiness portion. So discovering, what does your data look like, right? So any type of data initiative goes right along in parallel with this AI readiness and enablement. But what does the data look like? Is it consistent? Do we have one master file for customers, vendors? Where is that data? Is it in one solid place, or is it all over? Readiness and assessment. We take a look at resources. Are we, what other initiatives do we have competing right now? Are we ready to take on a project like this? You said shoot for the sky, right? We want to start with small projects, but we do want to make sure that it's bringing a lot of value. And then ramping up those resources, whether it be internal training and education or bringing in somebody externally who is an expert and certified in AI, that can help greatly. So that, discovery and the data, the readiness, and then jumping into where are your resources currently for this type of initiative.
Yeah, because I think there's a very structured process to get ready for AI. That's kind of what we built. And the first thing is just education, to have people understand what AI is, what are the components, what can it do, what can't it do? Because you need that training to kind of get into the next piece. First off, as Chris said, you need to have an assessment. How, the whole idea of data maturity. So you do a discovery, do a data inventory, understand how good your data, which data is structured, which is unstructured. What are the tools to help you get there? Do a technology audit. Do we have infrastructure in place? Do we have the correct workforce skills? Do we have the right culture? Because there is going to be, maybe there's this whole idea that you have to be ready. There has to be a regular a cultural fit for that. And then there's kind of a strategy thing that says, okay, AI has to serve a purpose. So you look at your business objectives. What are our business goals? What are our KPIs? We see these are the things we need to accomplish. Here are the tools available. Where do they overlay? Because AI isn't going to solve every problem, but you have to understand, set clear objectives, have clear use cases, prioritize them, and then make sure that you've made a decision where the tools can do what we needed to do. So the whole idea of that strategy piece that Chris talked about. And then, of course, it's the idea of, as we mentioned, capability building, technical infrastructure, data management, data governance, infrastructure, getting the right set of tools. Because as you move through this AI journey, it's not terribly different than if you were choosing a new payroll system. You go in, you do your assessment, you set requirements, you figure out where you are, you look at all the available solutions, and then you pick the one. Some of them are embedded in the ERP system. AI has done a great job. Priority has done a great job of embedding AI into their system. So it's not like I'm going different places. And the advantage there is with this RAG thing, you can query the system and get answers just specific to your company based on your knowledge, your data, your history, to be able to make good predictions. But in some cases, there's third-party tools. So, if you're talking about machine vision, that's not really an ERP thing. It's an augment to the ERP system. So I think as you go through this, you kind of understand there's a structured model to get ready to deploy. And then again, where are you going to find a pilot? How are you going to deploy it? Make sure it's something that you can be successful in.
Excellent. You guys on the priority side want to
Factors.
chime in on this?
I think some of
Yeah,
the
okay.
intimidation factors already been taken out of this because, 12 months ago, people were somewhat concerned about employees being threatened by AI. Now they're using it at home. They're using it in many aspects of their life and their day-to-day business. And they're more ready for it than you realize in a lot of the conversations I've been in. They're open to it. They're already looking at their job on how they can harmonize with AI in a way to do their job. So they're already wrapping their mind around that.
That's a good point that I want to play on. It's one of my questions that I want to ask. So I'm going to jump on that and throw it back out to you guys. I mean, what you're saying about how they're already using the AI to augment their jobs. Still, there's a question out there, and people are asking it: how is AI going to affect our job? And a lot of people are worried about their jobs, and we do see. In certain places that there are layoffs, and I mean, I think it's a legitimate question that people have on their mind. How do you guys see the effect of AI on the workforce in various different ways?
I
In
think
various different ways. There's going to
yeah,
be a level of
sure.
upskilling that does need to happen, and there's many avenues for that. But it's also AI's main impact now and in the near future, I believe, is going to be it's going to take the mundane off the table and allow the people and the resources to think about and have impacts on areas and tasks of high impact, right? And AI is going to take care of the first level inquiries coming in through customer service until it needs to get to a person and things of that nature. Eyal, what would you say?
Interesting.
I think we're seeing now a change. And first of all, look what's going on with college graduates. Look what's going on with programmers. You don't need any more programmers. There's a shift in the workforce. First of all, everybody assumes you have to have like the capabilities of prompt engineering, and that know how to interact with an AI. But the thing is, now I think the next programmers, because I said there's no more programming. Actually, it's more like you're talking to the same. You need to read the code, but the next line of programmers are going to be product people. So the product people are going to be the next generation of programmers. The other problem is that you can see all this jobs that were for the juniors, they don't exist anymore because now AI is doing the heavy lifting for you. So there's going to be a lot of changes on what are the requirements for people to do their jobs. And I think there's this paper now, like 30% of college graduates can't find jobs because
Well,
of
don't let's not rub that in, as my
uh,
daughter, who just graduated in material engineering, is going through a job hunt right now, and the people who take it the most seriously are her parents. So it's tough.
it's true. But look what said the Shopify CEO. He said for he sees the change like this. First of all, if you don't know how to use AI, you don't have any place in my company. Second thing, when you're hiring people, all the questionnaires for hiring or doing, this reviews for your employees needs to include AI inside of it. And then the next thing and most important now that people saying, when you want to hire, you first need to prove to me that the job you're looking for can't be done with AI. There's no more, let's say, there's no more budget for hiring new people. If you first need to show me that you can be solved with AI, only then I will give you, an acceptance to hire people. So I think people are trying to still figure out what to do and how to look, what are the expertise that I need to to educate myself. And again, it's changing every day. So the
Yeah.
Wow.
next few months is going to be challenging.
And some,
Wow.
I would just say there's, from a manufacturing perspective, AI, as you mentioned, Barry, it augments decision making. If you have predictive maintenance, it's not going to fix the machine. You still have to go
No.
out there and fix the machine, and
Right.
it'll give better recommendations. If you're doing monitoring quality, you have to go back and look at what are the root issues of the quality. Is it a machine? Is it a design? Is it material? But it's gonna kind of point those things out. AI does a really good job with complex structured stuff, but it's not really that good when you talk about improvisation, adapting to unexpected events, creative tasks, product design. You can automate the customer experience, but you can't. And there was an old saying that a machine can never replace a smile or a handshake. The whole idea of how you interact with the customers, that has to be driven from a human being. And
But
there'll
today
be
it can make you smile.
well, when you look at if you do it right, the bottom line will make you smile. Um,
Mhm.
and
It's
then
always the
you're
bottom
right.
line.
There'll be new jobs. There'll be digital maintenance specialists. There'll be automation technicians. There'll be a new set. A lot of the routine stuff, will most likely go away. But that gives you more opportunity to do the things that create value, that could an advantage. A routine, repetitive task doesn't really create value for your company. It's how you take those people that have skills and set them free.
But you need one person with skills and an AI that replaces the whole team. So you're going to see now companies that are a one-man show or a small team that once you need, like, I don't know, hundreds of people can be now done with, I don't know, 5 to 6, 8 people. So you're going to see, I guess, you're going to see a lot of AI initiatives coming out with people that are a one-stop shop, one-man shop that is going to give you a full solution. And I mean, you can see it now in multiple places that, there's like a paper about these people that was doing hacking, 8 guys from China, I think, that before they like had, uh, government finance hackers with large teams. Now they just broke they broke the system. I don't know, with Anthropic. There's a paper about it, like with 8 people. So this is kind of the changes we're going to see. Things that we took 6 months, 200,000 K value, you can do now in, I don't know, 6 weeks in a 20,000 K. So even the pricing that we need to give, price quotes need to change because of AI. So again, a
Well, let
lot
me
of change.
jump on. Yeah, let me jump on that last thing because we're running out of time here, and I just want to ask one last question of everyone on the panel, sort of an opportunity, guys. Leave your last words of wisdom here, with the context of where do you see AI ERP going in the coming months or maybe the coming years, and of course the bigger challenge is let's keep it concise so that we keep it. Everyone gets a chance to say something, and we keep it within the time frame before we have to wrap up. Why don't you start because you're already there. You're already talking about what we're going to see, and then we'll just go around.
So again, I'm just going to quote. I think it was. I don't know if it was a Anthropic guy or a Meta, whatever. Said like in another 1,000 days, the people in the office. I mean, all the office jobs are going to disappear. Like the person in the office is going to be the most stupid, thing in the office. And this is something. I think the whole workforce, the whole job thing is going to change because a lot of things are going to be automated. So I guess and think about it, user interface. We're not going to use everything is becoming conversational. You don't need to use your user interface. You just give it, the AI a task, a goal. It comes back to you if it needs to interact with it, like human in the loop, and that's it. So everyday basis jobs that we're doing, repetitive jobs, is going to disappear. This is, I guess, in
Okay.
a few months to a few years.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Alan, you want to last comments? Alan and Chris.
Yeah, I think that you're going to see that systems will become more autonomous. I think that's kind of what Al's saying. Is going to need less people to do a lot of the stuff that become more autonomous. It'll be more real time. Everything will become more real time. But again, I am not as pessimistic as Al is in terms of.
Optimistic.
No, I'm not as pessimistic
You're
as you are. I think that it's going to change. But at the end of the day, if you're building something and you're dealing with the public and you're dealing with decision making, the world, especially now, is a very uncertain place, and things change all the time. And that idea of flexibility and adaptability and being able to make decisions, not based on data, but based on insight, is going to continue to be important.
Cool.
Deeper human and AI collaboration, I think, is where the area that we're headed to, and we're in the middle of the acceleration of going from reactive to predictive to actionable optimization, which Alan walked us through in his slides earlier. That evolution is going to continue to accelerate.
And I think real quickly, a faster time to value, faster decision making, better processes to support that, and speed to market, as well as companies adapt to what their customers need. I think that'll be the biggest thing that we see here in the quick future.
Okay, great. I mean, this conversation could go on for a long time. It's fascinating. I certainly have very much enjoyed this, and I trust our audience did as well. Before I turn it back over to Michael, a couple of quick things on my end. I just want to remind everyone that this webinar is recorded and will be on demand on both Priority and Panorama site. We will get the slides to you. That's something that we will also take care of. And I did see a couple of questions come across, or a couple of comments, and so we will answer them after the webinar. We'll get it to the right people, and they'll get back to you. So I want to invite all of you to learn more about New Jersey Manufacturing Extension Program, Panorama Consulting, and Priority Software on our respective websites. And my last thing, I just want to really thank all of you guys here today, all of my guests on this very important conversation that we had. Alan Salton, Managing Partner at Panorama; Chris DeVault, Senior Manager of Client Services at Panorama; Eyal Katz, Chief Innovation Officer at Priority Software; and Todd McElroy, Head of North American Sales at Priority. Thank you all very much for joining us, and to our viewers, thanks for taking the time. We know that you're busy and don't necessarily, you have other things you want to do with your day, and so don't take that for granted. We appreciate it. And so with that, Michael, I'm going to pass it back to you to wrap it up.
Thank you, Barry, and you did a great job. I just want to, forward that thanks to everyone joining today, the entire Priority Software team for making this possible, getting your partners together, because taking the time to engage with sessions like this is going to be critical to ensure made in New Jersey manufacturers remain resilient and competitive far into the future. If you'd like to get in touch with Priority Software, please let me know. We'll make the connections. As Barry said, we're going to get the presentation out, the recording out, and be sure to keep in mind and keep an eye out for more of these affiliate webinars. And of course, our core training opportunities that take place every week. There is plenty more to come. And I really hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, guys. Take it easy. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you.